Welcome to Trading Lounge and the commodities, and I want to start with the Nasdaq and actually compare it to Bitcoin. So we're on a weekly chart here for the Nasdaq, and I don't need to go back into a lot of history like I have done before to validate that there is a relationship between the Nasdaq and Bitcoin. But if we take this top here around the November 2021, and then look at Bitcoin here at November 2021 for this high here, and then we have a look at this low down here in November 22, and bring the Nasdaq back and have a look at this here in October low here, so just a little bit out here. So we could say that, at least in this instance, this top here and this bottom here would compare to the Nasdaq here, and the trend up here would be, reasonably sort of similar in that case, So what I'm proposing here is that, looking at a different count for Bitcoin today, but based on the Nasdaq. Now, the Nasdaq and other big indices, the S&P, for example, have the same turning points here, but they have different structures in here. The S&P went through a bit of a banking crisis at some point, and the Nasdaq led higher. But in a nutshell, the S&P and the Nasdaq, we've got them at the same counter coming up here to primary wave 3 up here, and primary wave 4 and primary wave 5 here. To make wave 1 and wave 2 at that point. So I think what we could do is also bring Bitcoin into this particular count as well. I think that makes sort of sense. Now, the 20,000 is quite a big number up here for this, and having this top up here is a major level where Bitcoin would be facing the 80,000 and really the 100,000, and 1 is a strong number. Doesn't matter if it's 1 cent or $1 or $100 or 1,000 or 100,000. So with Bitcoin here coming up to this particular top as well, and obviously some indices have gone through the top of their previous high here, and some struggling a little bit, and this one here, double tops are never the end of the trend, but at the same time we always tend to see some sort of fluctuation here of profit taking and so on. So that's what we are seeing here. But I think that what we could do is we could just compare these two markets coming into this high here being the same. So picking it up from intermediate wave 4 here for the Nasdaq, and the intermediate wave 4 here for Bitcoin, and then pushing up here, and then also pushing up here. Now the Nasdaq is also leading the S&P to the upside, and things like the Russell and the DAX are behind, but they're there as well, and all those sort of things. But so there's leaders and followers, we get that. So, but having wave 4 here and wave 4 here, going up for wave 5 and going up for wave 5 of 3 here, and then having wave 4 coming back. So this particular pattern to the upside here will be the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and the ABC correction. So this is the most common pattern to see at a level. So the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the ABC pattern, and then finding, basically migrating from resistance to support, and it needs to fluctuate across that particular, whatever price point that may be. I tend to find there's only 3 real patterns that occur at a level, and if it does react from here, then it's only left with 2 particular patterns. One is that it drops below the level here, and one that it doesn't drop below the level here. They're the 2 patterns that would occur at that particular point in time. So this is basically where we're at the moment, really. So with this wave 4 to wave 5 here for the Nasdaq, let's just check on that for a moment. There's some stocks, like big stocks like Meta Platforms, that hasn't taken the top out here just yet. Okay, so, and some are, Nvidia's leading to the upside. So there's leaders and followers within those stocks as well. But if we just have a look at the daily chart here for a moment, what we're looking at here is we're looking from this wave 4 here, we're looking at 1 2 3 4 5 for 1 and back for 2, and then 3 4 5 to get that top there, and then the ABC correction here. So this is what I think that we're looking at with Bitcoin as well here. Now I won't go into all of this because I've done that into the indices video, everyday tracking, so we know where we are exactly at that point there. But this particular pattern here, if we take this into picking it up from this wave 4 here and taking it into the daily chart and looking at it here, it would be like this here. So we've got wave 4 here, so looking at wave 1 and 2 3 4 5 here. So yeah, that's what we're looking at this point. Now to get the timing here for just getting this over here for this and this, so we could look at this here as one, and we'll talk about this. There's a couple of ways to count all of this, but so far it's sort of looking okay-ish at wave 4 and 5 up there for this wave 1 here, and then back for wave 2 here. So in this instance here, we're looking at blue 1 2 3 4 5, so we still need to go up for wave 5 to get to wave 1 and then back for wave 2. So this would be the same thing over here as well, in terms of looking for wave 5 here and then coming back for wave 2 here, and then pushing up into wave 3 4 and 5 up here to make that wave 3 up there, and then we would be coming back at that point in terms of an A and a B and a C. Take all that with a bit of pinch of salt, but basically, and then going up again at that point. So to wave 5 up here of a larger wave 1, and then we start to get that classic trading levels pattern sitting across that 100 there, and 1 is the strongest number in the market. So just give that a bit of color. So yeah, and then from this point we would see the ABC come back across here again before pushing up again. So we're basically in we're in a market that I think that we're in wave 4s and 5s of this market, you know. And yeah, so this will all be very time consuming across here. You know, this could take a year really to get right across the other side to where we need to be for the next sort of bull run up here. I mean, Bitcoin tends to go up for 3 years and then have 1 year correction and 3 years up and then a year correction, that sort of stuff. But anyway, that's basically, I just wanted to put this forward to be, you know, to look at it a little bit differently. Now, this particular move up here could be counted differently. So there's many ways, because of this particular correction down here doesn't count very nicely as an ABC, more like a WXY. It does, and wave 4s can get complicated. We could actually put wave 4 over here, but I don't think we need to go over there for that at the moment. We could change this around here. We could put wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and I think Kitty Pon has done this here as well as 1 and 2 in here, or even 1 and 2 over here. We'll have a look at this in a bit more detail in a moment. But so there's various ways to count this, so we're not really out of the woods. What I could say is that any move above this, well, that top here, which we can now lower down to this top, would be a bullish move at that particular point in time. But I will go into this and pick it up from this wave 4 here on the intraday, and we'll also have a quick look at ETH as well. It's a little bit different. So just picking it up from just let me get a little bit more data in here. So picking it up from this wave 4 here, right? I've just got it as I've had it yesterday as well, as blue 1, blue 2, blue 3, blue 4, and then going up for blue 5 to make wave 1 up here, and then having an ABC correction at that point. So much the same as the Nasdaq and the S&P, basically, you know, and having a wave 2. How far that pulls back, you know, we have to work through that, but this is the general sort of idea at this particular point in time. Now, the reality at the moment, the truth of the matter is that we only have 3 waves up here. We had 5 waves here, so we could dictate another 5 over here, but at the moment we've got this as a 3-wave move up here. So that means that that means that it could be corrective, it could be an ABC up here, you know. I don't think that's the case, and the reason I say that for is because I don't really get a nice 5-wave structure coming down through to here. And I think we were around here yesterday, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here now. Doesn't make a very nice ABC pattern here, but you know, according to where we are with the Nasdaq and the S&P and stuff like that, we should actually just start pushing up here for 5 waves to get this this wave 3 here, and then wave 4 over here, and so on. And that's what I'm thinking that we should be looking at. But like I said, I don't have enough evidence to really confirm a lot of stuff, but based on the US indices, this is the pathway that we're looking for at the moment to get to this wave 1. So and any of these little trades here, you might want to keep them, you might want to take profit a little bit further up here. We can talk about that in the next session. And yeah, next trades can be built in on this wave 2, wherever that may be at this point, and we'll be looking for that wave 3 to the upside at that point. Also to our Bitcoin competition, that sort of will end in a couple of days, and then we'll roll it over and we'll put up 2 million Satoshis for that next month, for June. Rightio, so I just want to have a quick look at Ethereum while we're here. Let me go find that. So this is it here. So what I've done here is I've done the same thing. So I won't go into a big spin, but this wave 4 low here, like we talked about on the Nasdaq and the Bitcoin and yada yada yada, is basically the same. So 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 here, and then going up for wave 5, and then having an ABC pattern here for wave 2. So we'll look for, we've got this long trade here, we'll probably just keep that, but basically looking at this wave 2 here to go up into the next wave 3 up here into the 5,000 area here. So we should have a nice little trade in that point there. So that will be good. Okay, so a little bit long on the on this video on the Bitcoin. So I'll keep it a little bit shorter on the dollar bonds and yields, and also the base metals and energy. Okay, let's start with the dollar. And when we start with the dollar, we're going to start with the positive count to the upside. So that means that be it right or wrong, we're tracking 2 counts. So we've got wave A here, and we've got an A and a B and a C wave up here, and in that case we'd have wave 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5. So this is valid. If this low here is taken out, then we need to look at the bearish count. It's that simple at this point. So on the bearish count, we have it like this here, where we have it a little bit differently. We have the A wave here with an A, B, C for the B wave, and down for 1, and an A and a B and a C back for wave 2 here. So that this low here being breached, that's what it's all about at this particular point. There's a bond auction today. I think there's 2 years and 5 years or something. So I'm not sure how that went actually, but anyway, we've been looking at this in a little bit of detail. So we'll just have a bit of a look at that in detail. So from this top here, this wave C top here, looking down, this is wave 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 here, and then looking for it to come down further at this point. Now, on the bullish side, obviously we're looking for it to move up. So it's working itself into a corner in a nutshell. So that's the top, and we can look at it on the bullish side as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here. So an ABC correction, and we can go up from that move. Now in this particular move here, going to the upside here, it's possible to count it as 5 waves, basically 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 here, and then up for 5. It's a bit of a long shot. It actually counts better as a corrective wave, as an A and a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here as a C wave, coming back to our target area here. So on the bearish side, we've got down for 1, back for 2. of 1 degree. So we're going down for the third wave here, and in this third wave there'll be 5 little green waves here. So down for 1, back for 2 here. We've been working through this correction for a while, and then we could look at this move down here. I haven't pulled it apart. I can see that it can be an ABC here, but we'll see. In terms of it being down for wave 1 on the bearish side, it can pull back to this area here. That bond auction must have gone well because it's obviously pushed this up here. So let's see if it turns here. So and this is all really important because you know, we can look at this as down for 1 here next and back for wave 2 and this sort of thing here. Now yeah, all I can say is if this gets triggered here, then this is going to trigger a lot of pairs. Now, when I look at the yields, it suggests that that will be moving down. Even if I look at the bonds, well, I've got this chart here. So with the bonds here, we've got this here as an A wave up here, an A, and then an A, B, C, D, E here for a B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So, and we've also developing a nice little 5 waves here. So we're waiting for a bit of a pullback on this. So we'll look for this wave 2 here, and if that was the case, I can kind of see that this would have to be the A wave, the B wave here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So there's still like another 3 or 4 days before this basically finishes off here for a possible wave 2. But this 5 waves here would suggest that we're going to move up here higher on the bonds. That would send the yields down and the dollar down. So we'll need to just have a quick look at the yields. So the yields here, and also a daily chart as well, and we're looking at, well, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here. Now obviously calling this top in and coming down here, calling tops in is a mug's game, but at the same time this particular move down here does appear to be 5 waves. It counts quite nicely as 5 waves, let's just say that. So we've been looking for a rally to go into this little box up here, so it's basically there, and looking at the bonds we know we've got another 2 or 3 days for that to play out. So let's just see how it does against this little trend line here and this little box in this zone here, and let's just keep an eye on it. So yeah, I guess by the end of the week, and you know, if we don't see much movement, which is kind of what I'm expecting in the dollar bonds and yields, and if now that little auction's over on the 2s and 5s, then we'll just probably at the end of the week we might be able to see some light. I mean, what I'm looking for is confirmation, so that means we can be, you know, long in, well, depending on which direction the dollar is really. So that's what we're sort of looking at there. So I'll just leave those there. So when we're looking at precious metals next, and then base metals, and then energy, if we're looking at these markets here, should we just we'll do GDX first. So with GDX here, we're looking in the bigger picture here of 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So we're looking quite positive for gold. I don't know why that's there. That's probably coming on a different time frame or something or other. So basically, we've been looking here as wave 1 and 2 here, and then a little 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here for the third wave. So we've been in this 4th wave here for GDX. Now, it does look like we could use that as 5 waves down here. So we were looking for a low here when that came in, and then we're looking for a B wave. So I still think we've got the C wave to come into play yet for this wave 4 that can pull back to the previous wave 4. So I don't think we're out of the woods here yet. If I look at it on my other charting program here, we can look at this here. We can see, well, we can see the stochastics is way down here. It's running pretty fast actually, but that's okay. It does grab the turns. So it's possible to put that in here, but I'd just be a little bit sort of wary because could end up, you know, we're looking for the B wave and then the C wave to come down. That, you know, same as this here, little A, B, and C here. So just be a little bit careful about this. But look, I mean, if don't sell, put it that way. If you're got, you know, if you don't have leverage and you're not overexposed, and we're looking for this wave 1 to the upside here, and then wave 2 to come back here. We could probably change the degree of that structure, but as far as I'm concerned, we're not really changing much at all. We'll just see the same pattern as a good support down here, and then we'll see, you know, this basically move up, continue to move up through that way. So definitely not a sell, and definitely a, you know, a buy and hold scenario. But if you're ducking and diving in here with leverage, then that's a whole nother ball game. So if we look at US spot gold here, it was the same sort of thing here. We're looking for wave 3 up here, and we've got this down here as possible, the A wave, you know, the A, the B, and the C wave to come into play. That can come back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. Look, I could make a mistake here, and we could put this wave 4 here, but it's a little bit small compared to this wave 4, so don't really sort of bite on it at that point. Let me just have a look at the other charting program. I didn't want to burn up too much time because we've got that already, but it's important. So yeah, look, I haven't updated it, but basically we're looking for this B wave over here. I'm going to have to tighten this up here somewhere. Does look like a nice ABC. It looks a bit different from the other ones. I mean, the wave A can be in 3 waves or 5 waves. So I'll just push this over here, and I'll just focus on this for a moment. So we've got overlap here, so the A, the B, and 1 and 2. Yeah, still it looks like it wants to build, I have to say. Like I said, if you don't have leverage, then it's not a problem. Just buy and hold, you know. This is the 50-60%, and we should be sort of heading up into that direction. Oh, when I look at this, you know, I feel like putting wave 4 in here. This wave 3 and this wave 4. I mean, it's still a good area to buy in, because if you think about it for a moment, if this market went up to here and then came down again, it's going to come down to here somewhere and then move up there anyway. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, this looks like I can look at this as an A and a B and a C here, but on GDX I've got to look at it differently. I could still squeeze another one in here, but it's not going to make it. Let me just have a look at silver for a moment. Silver's a bit easier at the moment. Not always the case, but silver. Okay, let me just clean up my mess here. We're looking to do a long trade above that 3100 there. So, but look, the thing here that makes it sort of nice and easy is that we have this nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here. So it makes it much easier, and a nicer A, B, and C wave here for this, you know. Not to say that it still can't come down here, but what I could say, if it takes out this top here, then it's bullish, because this would be the A, the B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So seeing a little move up, just taking that top out there, that would turn that bullish and would be going up here further, and it will also cement that in. So it's quite possible that that gold has got a low in it here based on silver on a smaller market, you know. So if that top gets there triggered, then you know that that's all good to go on gold at that point. So that's one way to look at it, you know. Okay, so I want to have a look at anyway, somebody covers this, you know, gold and silver on his daily chart, so that's not an issue. You can have a look there each day, and we want to have a look at I don't need those, so I want to have a look at the metals. So nothing really going on here with the metals at the moment. So with high grade copper, as I mentioned, we're looking for a wave 4 here, so I might just remove this here. So we were looking for an A wave here, and we could see that over these days here that that the market didn't want to go down any further. Do you know what I mean? So now we're looking for a B wave here and then a C wave. Once we get this into play here, we'll look to have a bit of a trade in this fifth wave up here. But this particular pattern here is, you know, just the basic old pattern. We've got the arrival, we've got that. We're looking for 3 waves here. We're basically right here. That's where we are at the moment in this. So we want that, and then we can trade that up there, and then the rest of it's another story. I was looking at nickel, and I'm not sure what my nickel chart is. I'm not sure if I got a futures contract here because I haven't got yesterday's price bar in here. That was the holiday, so it's for Friday, Thursday. I'm not sure what's going on here. I've got to change this chart, so apologies about that. When we come over to uranium, yeah, so this is the weekly chart here, so we're looking at this. Possible to look at it as wave A here, wave B here, and a C wave up here, but otherwise I'm looking at it bullish in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 up here, and moving up here further. So this has still got higher to climb up here. We're seeing increased volume, which is good. And yeah, so I don't have 5 waves here. Whichever way wherever you want to start this count from, I can look at it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in here. There's different ways to count this, but we're still going higher. We need to clear this top here a little bit more. It struggled at the top as expected, but should push up and continue a little bit higher. I also just wanted to have a look at I'm just going to put them over to there. I do want to just have a look at PLL, Piedmont, for the lithium side of things. Just want to see how that's going along here. We're just trying to count 5 waves up here. 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we could still look at that as a 4th wave. It's a bit overlapping here now, so we'll just see how that goes tomorrow, but that's come down on higher volume. So this is starting to look a little bit corrective in nature as well. So I know that the big Chinese markets are still under bearish pressure as well for those. And I wanted to have a look at just iron ore as well, just while we're here. I'm just really doing this for myself, my selfish self. Okay, so we've got this rolling over at this point. So it doesn't mean that it's bearish, but we do have this as a possible bearish count for a wave 2 sitting here. So we can look at this as the ABC pattern here. But also the beautiful thing about this though is that if this top here is taken out now, then we can be bullish at that point, because we are down as far, we're up as far as we want to go. This is the little pocket here, the 62 and 65 that I use, so it's right in on target there. So let's just see how this sort of plays out now, because this is obviously going to play out against you know, the pure iron ore plays in the market. So yeah, we just need to be a bit mindful of Rio, and I mean Rio's got some copper there as well, so FMG and so on. Okay, so that's the base metals. There's not a lot sort of happening, and we also want to get a bit clearer on the US dollar as well. So yeah, I think towards the end of the week we're going to start to sort of crystallize some of these commodity moves, especially the base metals, and also the whole forex scene will be able to pick some trends out in that as well. So we want to have a look at the energy sector now. So I'm just going to have a look at crude here for a moment. This is, let's go to the daily chart here. This is what Sumney's got here in terms of a complex WXY pattern here, but basically looking at this as wave 1 coming down here for this, and wave 2. So in this case here we've got on the 4-hour chart here that was updated yesterday, from the top here we've got down as wave 3, 4 and 5 coming into play here. Okay, so I've got a slightly different count where we have this as the possible low in here. I'll just check on how that's going. It looks like it's pushed up, so We talked about this yesterday in terms of looking at this top up here as an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, an A, B, C for 4 here, because it does count nicely as an A, B, C. Anyway, that way 4's pretty much said and done. So we're only going to go short if this was breached here. So we'll just see how this looks. A bit impulsive here now. Let's just see how it develops, and if we get a classic trading levels pattern sitting on top of this market. And I'll just have a look at the gas here as well. I mean, it's good if we've got slightly different counts. So he's still got it going to the upside. So I've got basically got the same count here as well, at least like a bit more bullish count on this. So no change on that. So I'll leave it at that because I don't want to let the video go on for too long. We spent a fair bit of time on the Bitcoin. But yeah, so just to recap a little bit, we're just viewing as an option. We're looking at Bitcoin being in line with the Nasdaq and the other tech stocks. And for the forex, we need a very clear move on the dollar. We need that, just bringing the dollar back over here, the US dollar index. We need this low taken out here. If we can get this low taken out here, then we can be long on the Aussie and the cable and the euro dollar and those sorts of things. But otherwise we'll have to keep a bit of an eye on things. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.